Hello once more. Let's have a look at the PDF we've been given as part of our course to prepare us to create this podcast. And this is mostly in terms of some of the content selections that you might be looking to deliver. So it's the by Ross Wynn, and it's a step-by-step tutorial on creating a podcast. So the first thing is the idea of planning, right? So I mean, it seems crazy, but most people when they start creating a podcast will struggle to plan properly. Um, it gives you a roadmap of what you want to achieve, and it avoids it becoming a conversation. We've spoken extensively in class about how many of South Africa's podcasters are untrained in the process of getting to the point quickly. The best example of how radio training helps podcasting is a guy like Mac G. He's trained as a radio person, and he has got a good sense for timing and restriction, and he understands that you need a certain amount of limitation placed, and you also becomes very insider, and it isolates the audience, and it kind of ruins the whole experience for the listener. So to be compelling, you got to think of it like an engine, right, of a car. Cars move forward because you create a confined space, and there's so much interaction within that confined space. The energy has nowhere to go, and it drives the car forward. Similar kind of process. Create structure so you can create magic. And that's what this is about. It's about creating the parameters of what you want to achieve. You can't just talk about life aimlessly. You need to have some sort of um, base from which to operate, an idea about what you're trying to achieve. So planning is really important. Get a notebook, get a whiteboard. I mean, in my uh, office right now, as we speak, you'll see over there is my planning noteboard, because it's a really important thing to get practical and kind of gel this thing together through plans. So have an idea about what you want to achieve. Create some content filters. You've spoken about that before, but content filters are the things that the parameters you put in place to decide whether or not something gets into the program. That's what it involves. It involves you understanding very carefully what you want to achieve when you're on air. So plan well, right? And when I talk about a topic, I talk about specific episodes. What is this episode going to achieve? We know what the overall podcast is about. And we'd like to be as specific as possible in that, by the way. If you're doing a running podcast, don't just do running, do South African running. Don't just do South African running. Do South African running in Durban at the coast. Do South African running at the coast in preparation for comrades. Be as specific as you can be, you know. I'd like it to be something that you really double down on. If you are, I know, like Tabitha, for example, you're looking at doing a podcast about Christianity. Be as specific as possible. Christianity for a young black woman in Durban, South Africa. The specific experience will give you a niche to operate from. It works really, really well. So choose a topic, find the niche that you're going to be delving into. Oh, look here, it literally says that, for example, having an article podcast talking about hiking, be specific. See, it's not just me who recommends this. I literally didn't realize it was going to be there. Co-hosting, optional, not always necessary. Some podcasts are one person speaking, and it depends on what your test profile is. But I find that when it's this like co-hosted thing, the problem is that for an onboarding process, it really drives listeners away. When two podcast hosts say, "How was your week?" "Oh, fun." "How was yours?" "Yeah, fun." I don't care about them enough to be invested in their week for the first couple of listens. So always make sure that if you are adding guests to the program that add value, why is this guest here? What's the job of them? And if you can do the job alone, then I recommend doing that. But if you think that it requires you having someone on who can help you steer the conversation correctly, or who you can chaperone into the conversation, then I really recommend you doing it with someone else. Um, it is difficult, but it certainly is a challenge that is worth capitalizing on. A name, make it something punchy. Um, you want a name that is broader than your topic. So there'll be times where you kind of steer away from your predetermined topic in your content. So those times it must still fit under the umbrella. So going back to the running analogy, you could do running in Durban as a podcast, or running in Mzansi, for example. But you know that your filter still allows you to focus on very specific regions. So you can really get creative around what it might be and what it might look like. They recommend here that you are on the internet. That's not required yet for you guys, right? But it's an option for later on. Um, then the show format, the length. We're looking for about 12 minutes in this instance. That's taken care of. And make sure that you have enough content to fill the 12 minutes out. Make sure it's flowing, easy listen. That doesn't feel like you're grasping at straws. Like the minute you start kind of steering the conversation into something ridiculous and it feels like you're padding for time, it will be noticed. So please be nice and concise and planned on what you look to achieve there. If something feels like it needs to end, feel free to end it. I'm not going to like penalize you if you've used your brain and you've ended it slightly earlier than you should have. Um, Episode format. The example might be the teaser, so the hook. We've spoken about a lot. The word here is wrong. We use hook. The music, the welcome, you're not going to have adverts, so don't worry about that. The interview, the call to action, and outro music. That's a nice way of doing it. You can get creative, and I've all seen your creativity. I think you have a good sense of how this stuff plans out. You've been trained for your entire life on being able to handle format really, really well. So I get a sense that you've got very natural inclination towards it. Prepare well. Make sure you know exactly what you're going to tackle in each episode. I want you to make sure that you are clued up on what you're going to be talking about and you have direction. Maybe list 5 or 6 talking points you think need to be addressed and work on the segues between talking points. Work on the links between them so that when your guest or yourself, you've arrived at a conclusion, you know how to organically incorporate the next idea in. So, for example, if your podcast is about young people earning money and becoming upwardly mobile, and your the two ideas are relationships and then working hours, find a way to link the end of the relationship topic with the working hours topic. Your relationships can be quite absorbing. Speaking about being absorbing, how much time should you be working? That's a nice little segue. So plan your segues. Give yourself a route map on how you're going to achieve this. Cover art, as we know, is really important. There is a guide on this in the other video, but use Canva for this and draw inspiration from your life. I mean, as an example, we made one for Tabata and Vuyo the other day, and then you find it for you so you can all see it. I mean, find it on my phone specifically. Luyanda, you would have missed this, but I think we showed you how to do it. But just for the sake of, we went up to the 6th floor and we got some cool pictures for the would-be podcast. Looks better in real life, and we edited it into Canva. It looked really great. I would like a similar kind of effort from you. Um, a great professional intro. You have time for this. If you need someone to do it for you, please get them to do it for you. This is the podcast with Vuyo. Get that done nicely. And also I recommend that you use 11 Labs, lots of AI voices, for now while you're learning how to do this thing. We've shown this together in class. The intro music, you've seen how to do that. Microphone. Okay, you guys have got access to gear. I don't mind using your cell phones. I'm not going to penalize you for poor audio quality. I'm really not. As long as I can hear you good, use the studio, use your phone, get a microphone, make a plan. And again, happy to help. Just give me a heads up, right? That's all I keep saying to you. Give me a heads up. We can find a way to work around any of the issues you might be encountering as long as there's time given to me to prepare for it. Guests, not necessary to work on right now because you've spoken about a co-host. It's episode 1, not that important. Alitu is apparently an easy way to do it. A podcast making tool. I've never used it before, but that's one. GarageBand is free on Mac. This might be really useful because I, in fact, have never used this before. So there's a guide over here. Which could be pretty cool, actually. So yeah, that might be nice. Edit it for yourself. Your editing skills are pretty good. You've launched. We're going to use, for the podcast host, we're going to use SoundCloud. But in future, I highly recommend this website right here. It's a South African person. It's a South African website. Iono.fm. There's a free option right now. If you want to use this, I won't penalize you either. All I want to hear is a podcast being hosted, but it's very smart. This one, it updates all the time. It's got huge storage facilities. It's very reliable. Iono is an absolute winner for the future. For one day when you own a podcasting agency or your radio show needs another place to host itself, that could be the option for you. Upload your episode, happy to go, all good, and then spread the word. Now, we've spoken about this before. If content is the king, then promotion is the queen. Promotion is everything. How you guys are going to promote it? Posters, really good way to do it. And then some video content, right? So you're going to film a bit of you talking inside of the podcast. We've done this before in class. I know we have, but what you might do is you might take the video of yourself and put it into CapCut. I have got examples of this being done already. CapCut is a free app. There is a paid for option, which is really affordable, but if you can't do that, free works. Here is Tabitha and Luyanda.
Christian youth and temptations. Yeah. They like to party. They like to do unnecessary things. What are your takes on that? So I think that like time is ticking.
Okay.
We should be getting.
That's an example of a promotional video. 30 seconds, done really nicely. You know, a good way, and I'm not going to search this on my normal browser because it's on my browser thinking I'm a Joe Rogan fan because I'm not. But a good person to learn from is Joe Rogan, right? And what Joe Rogan does, and back in the day, if you went to old school Joe Rogan interviews, what he would do really, really well, Joe Rogan, is he would take full episodes and they would find ways to incorporate many different talk topics about the same guest. So let's find Elon Musk, because they would have gone mad on this one. There's the full episode, as you see, right? And then they've taken smaller bits and pieces of it, where they can repurpose the content as promotional tools as well. There it is. There's an example of one, right? So there's a video on simulated reality. There's a video on artificial intelligence. So he's taken the full podcast and repurposed the audio and the video as independent videos. So he gets 4 times the number of views. Check here, more. Same interview, same interview. You know, it's being done over and over again. And now again, I'm not a Joe Rogan person. There's a bit of a nut job. Well, he seems fine, but he certainly entertains nut jobs, which is not a great thing. Alex Jones has been on there before, so not for me, but it's an example of someone who promotes really, really well. So use that video content in interesting ways. We know TikTok requires us to do much more concise videos, but good content works. The best example I can show you recently is Joe Dell from 5FM. She recently took her radio show, an interview with George from The Shoes, you know, Wear the Shoes, George. She posted a video of her doing it on air, which I'll show you about. Joe Dell 5FM. This video is her interviewing. It's long. There's no instrumentals, no bed music. There's a bit of writing, but otherwise it's pretty average in terms of production value, and it's amassed 2.5 million views in the last 3 days because it's that good. The content is that good. So, you know, there are tools to use, but certainly I do recommend that you put content first, and it might be able to work. I want to see some effort of promotion. I want to see a Twitter page or an Instagram page or a TikTok account where there's something posted. Just give me some evidence of you promoting really, really well. Okay. That should be that. Any questions or queries, you know, you guys are ready to shoot to me. But I think that should get you in a good state to excel on this particular topic really, really effectively. Cool. Thanks, folks. Chat soon.